Hey everyone, this is my Morbius review, the review everyone's most been looking forward to, just like this is the film that most people have been looking forward to. Where to begin with Morbius? Well, it all started back in 2019, the end of the year when they already had a trailer, because it's been that long. It's been that long. It seems that everyone could have cared. It seems like at the time when that trailer first came out, people were like, "Oh, that's an okay design. Some ideas of it look pretty good," but most people were still skeptical on it. And then it continued to grow to be skeptical. And as we got close to the date, there were a lot of rumors that everything about Vulture and Spider-Man and the Daily Bugle and Oscorp Tower, all of that was cut out of the movie. And it is true to be said that all of that is cut out of the movie. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, you could say that's a spoiler, but really, I'm just telling you that the stuff that would theoretically I could spoil and get in discussion about isn't even in the movie. Instead, we have a straightforward vampire story about Morbius living vampire. Very quickly in the opening, it's that shot of him slitting his hand and the bats fly at the blood and he captures bats. Then he's going to use their DNA and splice it with the human DNA and take a little bit of like the artificial blood he's made and then put it in him. And that's going to turn him and hopefully cure his disease, which is not fully ever explained of what the disease is. And shit goes kind of well, but very wrong, as it does help him survive, but also turns him into a vampire that he can barely control and only has about 6 hours before he gets a hand on artificial blood. But eventually, artificial blood won't cut it, and he'll need to start eating people and consuming real red blood. And Matt Smith is his friend he knows from when he's really young, even though it's barely explained that they're friends. They have like one discussion scene, then he sends him a note, and then it's like, oh, I guess they're friends throughout life. Matt Smith is like a rich guy who funds all of Dr. Morbius' stuff at Horizon, the facility. And yeah, no surprise, Matt Smith is the most entertaining part of the movie. He has a weird dance number before he goes off to a bar and basically picks a fight with people and technically kills them. He has a lot of energetic, goofy sequences. He has a very out there performance that's wild. His character arc, while rushed, is definitely the most interesting character arc of the film. I don't know why I'm just jumping here because, like, really, what am I going to tell you about the story? It's so simple. Like, you know what's going to happen. Morbius is going to get it, and then he wants it, and then Morbius is like, no, you can't have it. It's a curse. You don't want to be like me. And then, but Matt Smith's like, I don't want to be crippled anymore. That sounds like a really shitty Michael Caine. Sorry, Matt Smith, you were better than that. Then basically he takes some of the serum too, and then they're both vampires, and then they're fighting over it. And Jared Leto's like, "You shouldn't have done it. What's wrong with you? And you're just killing people and drinking their blood." And then Matt Smith is like, "I don't care. It's who we are. It's who we are. I have to do it." Sorry, laughing at my own shitty impression of Matt Smith. Basically, it's just them bickering the second hour of the movie. Then there's a big fight scene because, whatever, I'm not going to spoil it, but there's a big fight scene at the end and a reason that sets off Jared Leto's Michael Morbius, and then Michael and Milo, Matt Smith, they fight. And obviously Morbius wins, as would come to a surprise. And that sets up everything, and then the movie ends, Morbius flies away, and in the end. The problem with this movie is it's clearly cut down in post-production. I'm sure it was already a fairly mediocre movie, but I can definitely tell that stuff was cut out. That's already obvious. It feels like every transition, every fade to a new scene feels like it was missing 5 scenes before it. Tyrese Gibson and Al Madrigal play these detectives for the FBI, and they don't do shit. They are here periodically for like little 45-second segments to explain one thing. Al Madrigal makes a dumb joke. Tyrese Gibson goes, this is interesting, or he has like a one-liner, and then it cuts to something more important and slightly more interesting under Michael Morbius. And Jared Leto's okay in this role. You can't really blame him as the fault of the movie. He's fine. He fits the role fine. Matt Smith is the standout, and I forget who plays, what's her name? Martine? Yeah, Martin? I already forgot her name. The girl love interest character, she was okay too. None of the performances are really bad, minus the 2 child actors at the beginning of the film, but they're not impressive. The action sequences are about as good as Venom 1, a mess of dark CGI and really weird blending effects. I really like the look of them when they're still on screen of the vampires, but when it's like this like and it cuts between it and then fades back. It looks so unnatural, and like you could tell there's a really weird, not finished CGI effects and not fully rendered yet on all those faces, and it does feel cheaper. And from what I read, it's a $75 million movie, and it could show that it's about that budget because it looks quite cheaper than most Marvel movies. But they have plenty of time to improve it. There's plenty of time. They literally had 2 years to do reshoots or try something new, and they just didn't do it. And you get a bland, boring, schlocky film for most of it. I was really into it the first 30 minutes. I was like, oh, this is okay. Maybe I'll give it a positive score. I'll be one of the rare people. Because even though this has a 17% Rotten Tomatoes, what people don't realize is if you go click on the Rotten Tomatoes as 17%, the average rating is a 4.8 out of 10. So realistically, this has 17% of reviews are below a 6 out of 10, and the other, 83%, 83% are below a 6 out of 10. The other 17% are positive scores, which are 6 out of 10 or higher up ratings, meaning that 17% of people have said that this film is at least a 6 out of 10 or above, and the other 83% said it was a 5 or below. And most of the reviews I've seen, like the bad ones, are like 4 or 5 out of 10s. I've seen a few 1 out of 10s, like I really hate it, and a few like 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10s, like that level bad, but most are like 4 and 5s. So the average score is a 4.8, meaning this really is a 48% if we're trying to be real here, which isn't horrible. It's not the worst thing that's ever been seen, and it's not the worst thing that I have ever seen. It might not even be considered the worst thing I've seen this year. It might be like second or third. It's boring, it's schlocky, it's got a few good ideas, the performances are good, Matt Smith steals the show, there's some ideas I liked, but I would not recommend it to anyone. It's boring action, it feels longer than it actually is. It's only like an hour and 35 minutes before the credits roll, and then you get the 2 worst fucking post-credit scenes to ever come to mind that I don't even want to spoil, but hell, I'll just talk about them. It doesn't matter. Hopefully they realize this is a shit idea and immediately fall back on it. So basically, for people who don't know, there's been the discussion, is this in the MCU or is this in the Venom universe? Is this Andrew Garfield's own universe or are you returning to that? This has nothing to do with Spider-Man in the universe. This is in the Venom universe. And maybe there is a Spider-Man in that universe because there was the Spider-Man shot in the trailer, which was clearly cut out with the graffiti on the wall. And then at the ending of this movie, the second end credit scene, but we'll talk about the first one first, so let me do that. Michael Keaton, Adrian Toomes is cut of the film, but he's in the post-credit scene. Basically, first they show a shot above the Statue of Liberty, and it's the purple sky cracking open, letting you remember the events of No Way Home, and then it just shows the shot. It doesn't show anything happening, it's just the sky's cracking. Cut to a jail cell, we pan, and then magically in an empty jail cell where no one's in there, poof, fucking Michael Keaton, Adrian Toomes is there. He looks in the mirror, he goes, huh. And then he looks at the camera and goes, hope the food is better in this joint. Huh. And then there's a news report like, this guy, Adrian, who reports to be Adrian Toomes, shows up at a jail cell randomly, not knowing how they get there. His bail seems pretty instant, as he's done nothing wrong and we don't know who he is. And then it shows him getting pulled out of jail and he's not arrested because he's in the Venom universe now. That's the whole scene. And that line, I hope the food's better in this joint. I mean, he has a family. Does he not care that he's not going to ever see his family again? That he's in another universe? There's no Liz from Spider-Man Homecoming? They're gone. He's just transferred here and he doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't have his Vulture suit. He doesn't know how to build anything. He's not the mechanic part. He just gets the parts. He has a basic concept of what Vulture could feel like, but it just feels like a different character. It just feels like Michael Keaton's playing a new bad villain guy. Number fucking 8. It's like so random. And then the second end credit scene is like 20 seconds after they go back in the credits. They do the show casted it, show another like production company. It zooms out, says Morbius. It's like very short, and they're already back to another scene. There's 2 scenes within the mid credits before like the credits even fully roll. And the second one is even fucking worse. Morbius drives up in a car and then he checks his watch to see how long he has before he needs more blood. And then he looks up, he hears a sound, and echolocation goes off, and then you see new Vulture suit fly in, and then Vulture's like, thanks for meeting me. I think I'm here because of that Spider-Man guy, I think. That's what he said. Like, how would he even know? He was in jail. How the fuck would he know it's Spider... It doesn't make any fucking sense. I screamed in the theater. I genuinely was like, what the fuck was that? Even though I'd already seen the scenes, it's just like, it gets more confusing every time I see them. Because they're leaked online. You can just find them online. Who gives a fuck? It's bullshit. And then he's just like, I was thinking, I get some other guys like you and me, and we go out there and do some good. And then fucking Michael Morris is like, I'm listening, and then I already forget what Michael Keaton says after that, but it's something like or maybe that is the last line that he says, and then Michael Morbius just goes, intriguing. It's such a short scene, but like, why would Morbius care? Morbius is not a bad guy, so setting up Sinister Six makes no sense with his character. Morbius has not ever met this guy. He doesn't know who Spider-Man is, unless there is a Spider-Man in the universe, and it's just not in the film. And all these questions make no sense. Like, you could have written it better or cut out all the dialogue, or never had that second scene. If you just had that first scene, you'd be like, that's pretty stupid that it doesn't set up that he has like Liz and his family to worry about. But it's even more stupid because now, how did he build the Vulture suit? Where did he get the pieces? It's not made of technology from the fucking Spider-Man Homecoming. It's clearly different. The suit looks different. How is he a bad guy? Why is he a villain now? Why does no one care? These post-credit scenes are a 0 out of 10, like for sure. These are the worst things I've ever seen. They're written by a child. They are horribly delivered. The acting is bad. They clearly didn't interact on set, Jared Leto or Mike Keaton. They clearly shot that separately. It was clearly a last minute addition. It doesn't make sense. They don't explain it. They don't go further into it. It's not funny. It's not interesting. All the shots are fucking weird. It's the messiest thing I've ever seen. On top of just a really boring, schlocky, bad film. It's plain bad. It's not like complete shit, but it is just plain bad, and there's nothing interesting about it. I will never want to check this one out again. The only reason I would get it would be to have the cool. It has a really nice 4K steelbook design. I would like it next to my Venom 2 one, which. What I can say is Venom 2 is a mess, like equally a mess. It's like almost the same level of shitty, choppy, rush, quick editing. It's very short. Venom is even shorter. But what Venom 2 does right, it's not great. It's actually, Venom 2 is like a 3 out of 10 film with 7 out of 10 fun. Is how I describe it because it's ridiculous. It's goofy. There's some fun laughs in the first 30 minutes. It does address problems that I had that they didn't set up with Tom Hardy in the first film, so that's pretty cool. And the action's a little bit more clear to see than the first Venom movie. It's stupid though. It's like really dumb, but it knows it's dumb. It treats it like it's a goofy comedy buddy movie, and if you watch it like that, it can be a little bit of fun. But if you actually care about it, and if it was like this movie with no light, no humor, a really rushed, bland story that we had seen 1,000 times before, which we have, because this feels like any 2000s Marvel movie. This felt like I was watching fucking Spawn or Daredevil or some shit, with just slightly better effects and newer actors of the modern day. Then yeah, it's very similar to Venom 2, but this movie is boring and doesn't address how fucking stupid it is all the time. And Venom 2 is at least a self-aware movie. It feels like it is for sure. And while they're both cut very quickly, and Sony has no idea how to really tell a good story and develop good character and have genuinely really funny laughs, because I laughed once in this whole movie at an actual joke, and then I laughed like 3 other times at some really stupid CGI and effects where I was like, that looks like shit. Don't go see Morbius. Go see Sonic the Hedgehog 2 next week. Go see Everything Ever All at Once, because it's being praised as the best film of all time. It's the highest rated film on Letterboxd right now. I'm fucking pumped to see that movie. Go watch Ambulance. It's Michael Bayham. It already has better reviews than any of his other movies, and I've heard it's ridiculous fun from critics that I would trust to say that. So, those 3 things alone would give me confidence to just go watch any of those 3 movies next week, or catch back up on the Batman if you haven't seen it. I'm sure most people have, so it doesn't matter. Or watch Turning Red at home, or check out Apollo 10.5, A Space Childhood on fucking Netflix. There's so much shit to watch. The only reason you would need to watch this is if you feel obligated like me, because you watch every Marvel movie and keep up with all that shit, and you just watch every movie in general, you're probably going to see it, or you already have seen it, so my review doesn't make any sense to even be posting this. Just don't give your money to Morbius if you don't care that much. If it slightly interests you, hold it off until Redbox. Like, get it for $1, get it in rental. If it's that interesting to you, do not go pay to see this in a theater. It's boring. I mean, at least you can sleep at home. I mean, I know people who pass out in the theaters. I think that's dumb. Don't sleep in a theater. But you pass out at home during it, it's like, what? You passed out. It was boring. Good to know you only paid like $4 or $5. Don't go out and pay more money than you have to. Unless you have A-list, I guess. Like, it's like a fuck it moment, kind of. But it's upsetting. Bad post-credit scenes, which don't affect the movie. I'm not rating the movie off the post-credit scenes. If I did, the movie would be like a fucking 3 out of 10, 2 out of 10. But I would give it like a 3.5 out of 10. On the level as the first Venom, but I think at least the first Venom even is a little more entertaining than this. This is probably the worst of the 3 movies they did. I still like Venom 2 a bit more. I don't love Venom 2, but it's okay. Yeah, don't go see Morbius. That's why I held off seeing it Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and here I am reviewing it Sunday night. Tired and I'm gonna watch a better movie, like right now. I just want to cheer myself up. It was very boring. So that's it for this video. Sorry about the extreme close-up of my face because I'm tired and didn't want to go set up a stand and everything. I was just like, I'm gonna hold it and fuck it. I'm not gonna be respectful to Morbius. Morbius wants to have shitty, basic-looking cinematography all the time, then I will have shitty shot video all the time. Okay, bye. Fuck it.